Welcome everyone to the video that describes how to do this formative assessment for your nursing programme. What you'll see is when you click through the website, after you've added in some initial information, you'll get the questions like this. So you can answer them as you go through them. All you do is you just click on whatever answers you think most applies to you, and then it automatically goes on to the next one. Once you have completed the questionnaire, you'll get something like this. What this is it gives you the profile of your personality. So for this one here, on openness to experience, we've got the 99th centile, which means that it was me that filled this in, so it means that I'm on the 99th centile of openness, which means that in a room of 100 people, there would only be one more person who is more open to experiences than me. Conscientiousness is 12. So that's quite low. So it means that there will only be 12 people in a room who are less conscientious than me. For extroversion, we've got 94th centile, excuse me, which is quite high. And for agreeableness, we've got the 58th centile, which is pretty much roughly in the middle, slightly more agreeable than average. And for neuroticism, we've got the 68th centile, which means that about 2/3. And then when you go further down the page, you'll see that each trait is broken up into two different subtraits. For openness to experience, it is intellect and openness is what it breaks down into. You get a little bit more information here below. And then for conscientiousness, further down, you see it breaks down into industriousness and orderliness. Further even more, for extroversion, we've got enthusiasm and assertiveness. For agreeableness, we've got compassion and politeness. And finally, for neuroticism, we've got volatility and we've got withdrawal. Underneath each, you will have a bit of an explanation as to what these are. And they give you a little bit more detailed description and you can read these descriptions to get a little bit more insight into what each trait actually contains. We would like you to then take a screenshot of your overall results like this, and this will be the first part to include in your actual handed in assessment piece. Once you've completed the questionnaire, you can open the feedback form where you can start to answer the questions. So you've done part 1. The next thing is to do part 2, where you put the actual overall scores in here. Then what you do is you move on to look at the next part and you start to answer the questions. So you start to look at the difficulties that you would have in association with your personality. Then you look at next one is, how do they cause you problems? Next one is, what is the impact upon your life? Reflect upon them and how they've made things difficult for you. And then set goals for improvement. We also want to make sure that you're compassionate to yourself. Remember that everyone has faults and areas for improvement. That's normal. And be kind to yourself in order to work on yourself to be a better version of who you want to be. Next one is, we're looking at your virtues. So particular areas of personality that you think are strengths, identify them. Then reflect on your current standing with respect to each virtue. Be honest with yourself about how well you embody each of the different values. And then lastly, based on your self-assessment, set specific and achievable goals for each virtue where you can make changes. And that's the whole of the coursework. Hand that in online, and I shall see you all at the next lecture.